YouTube land, what's up? So listen, y'all gonna have to give me a second. Y'all gonna have to bear with me because, right, I'm trying my best to get this story together. I'm trying to get it together. I'm trying to get this story here wrapped around my mind. Man, I'm trying to get this story wrapped around my mind. Baby, please give me. Maybe I got to step off to the side and have me a little sweet. Wait a minute. Let me delay the show no further. Let me check my battery. 60%. Let me get this in. So the other night, right, I was enjoying having me some me time. I was in the bed, scrolling through Facebook. And so I see something basically that says basically in so many ways. It was about Dr. Phil object. He doesn't like the idea. I don't know if object goes with that. He doesn't want black people getting reparations. Yeah, that's what it was about. So he had this show, whatever, right? And there was a guy, a professor or somebody, right? He had, let me get my notes together. He had did the math right for the reparations. I think this is the right figure. If not, go check it out. It's on YouTube. I think he said we would get like $365,000 a piece. He had did the math. There was another guy that said black guy, said that he didn't want us to have the money. He was with Dr. Phil. He was rolling that way. He said he didn't want us to have the money because money wasn't going to fix the problem, because this was a systemically thing, and everybody needs to evolve and come whole and heal. Well, that might be part of the answer, but that ain't all of the answer. Oh, goodness. Let me check my notes. Yeah, he said it wouldn't solve the problem. And then there was a couple of other people on there, but my fuse was blown by that point. And then so Dr. Phil goes on to make the statement saying that he didn't want us to have reparations because we would be broke in 6 months. He said you give them them group of people, any group of people for that matter. Well, he didn't say them group of people, but he did say, if you give any group of people that money, they'd be broke in 6 months. But I couldn't figure out, and let me say this, I'm all right with Dr. Phil. But let me say this, I didn't like that segment. So I didn't, because I could get my mind wrapped around, like, okay, if they gave me $365,000 and I blew $365,000 in one day, I'm trying to figure out what would that have to do with him? What would that have to do with you? This ain't free money. You ain't giving me nothing. This is blood money. These is red bottoms. What are you talking about? We'd be broke in 6 months. What does that have to do with you? We talking about blood money. That's what we're talking here. So he doesn't want you to have your blood money. Listen, I don't want to leave nothing out. Y'all know how I am when I write these notes, and then when I get rid of them, then I soar off, baby. Give me a chance. I don't want to leave nothing out, because this entails, Yeah, okay, so I think that's all. I was supposed to have 2 pages, but I didn't have 2 pages. I don't even know my other pages. Well, anywho. So he doesn't want you to have your own money. He basically he doesn't care about the alligators the babies being fed to the alligators, the people being beat down and killed and on the cross and whipped and beaten unless they switch religions. You know, it's a lot of stuff that goes in that package deal right there, for you to be saying that. You know, I just wonder why Dr. Phil was even at that table right there. What business did Dr. Phil, what was he even doing at the table? Not only was he at the table, he was the head honcho of your conversation. He was dominating your conversation. He ain't got nothing to do with no blood money, no bloodbath, no red bottoms. How is he sitting in your face with your contract, reading your contract in hand, talking about what ain't nobody getting? Yeah, hold on. Listen. This is bloodbath money. But you ain't even eligible for your own money. See, I just want to wake y'all up, you know. Like I said, I like Dr. Phil. I'm not in love with him, but you know, if I catch him, you know, or something, or he got a hot topic, I go check him out every now and then. I mean, every couple of years, few years, or something, I tune into him. But some people just should stay in their own lanes. You might be a doctor, but most of that was taught to you. What about the real knowing? Like, it's just something off with that. But we'll leave that there, you know. But he doesn't want you to have your own money. Dr. Phil doesn't. But some of y'all in love with him and y'all watch his show. But for those who do watch this show and you part of the reparations business, I would stop supporting him because he's trying to, in your face, he said you don't deserve your blood money. This a whole different type of money we talking here. This ain't even physical money. You gonna hand it over in physical money. You can in cash, but then again on the card, that's semi-automatic to spiritual money because it ain't in your hand. But see, it escalates farther than that. You know, some people they got all these masters and degrees, and they write to a certain degree of life. But they not in these different realms, baby, of, listen. This cannot be taught and this cannot be bought. People can't even have their own blood money. We done came down to this. But guess what? I ain't looking for it. I'd be shocked if it come. Every blue moon, ooh, I wish. You know, but I didn't learn to turn it loose. You feel like you ain't did nothing wrong, fine. But listen, 365,000 a piece, that still ain't real. That still ain't enough. That's just a down payment on your soul, sweetheart. Listen. Well, I better break this party up. I just want to get on there because folks should get enough of letting folks sit there and handle their business. Every time you turn around, folks at your business dictate your business. When you gonna start dictating your own business? You always got a suspect leaning in at the table having bread and wine, don't you? You always got a suspect lurking around. Why didn't the black men leave Dr. Phil out or tell him they didn't want to participate in his show and got together and did their own show? You always got a suspect in the deal, but you don't seem to think so. He didn't even have no business at the table. And when y'all found out he was hosting this show, y'all still said no. When got his idea and flipped around and y'all did that. Dr. Phil didn't have no business dictating no blood money. Y'all let everybody run y'all. That man ain't had no business no more than a man on the moon sitting there being the head and honcho of a bloodbath red bottom conversation. That man shouldn't have been holding that. Hell, where was Farrakhan at for that matter? You gonna let him hold that? How he holding that? Somebody need to speak out against that. Anyway, tell me what you think about it. No, for real, because I know it's going to be a mixed bag. But you know, people feel how they feel. You can't erase their hearts and neither can they erase yours. What happened, happened. Good to know somebody's keeping score. Never took their eyes off. So anywho, let me go on. Baby, it electrocuted me to see that. I mean, that's the least. You don't even want to pay the least. Because that ain't, baby, really, respirations supposed to go on forever and ever and ever and ever. Reparations. Forever and ever and ever and ever. To my kids, to my grandkids, to my children, my great grandchildren that I'll never see. Reparations should be a never-ending thing if you really want to talk about it. But $350,000 sounds like a each. Nice down payment. We'll talk about the rest later. But you know, he doesn't think you're entitled to your own bloodbath money. Well, I tell you what. If you a person that falls under this category of being able to seek reparations and you happen to be a fan of his, if I was you, I'd go missing. Now, you done a lot of shows, but you ain't gonna disrespect me in my face while I'm sitting here supporting you. That's one thing you ain't gonna do. You ain't gonna make mockery out of me in front of my face. Now, they make mockery out of my father. I know they make mockery out of me. Y'all, for real, I'm finna go.